Ho, 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 nerds. Welcome back to Nerd Alert. I'm Brandon with my two lovely co-guests, co-hosts. Co-hosts. You're not guests, you're hosts.
I guess I'm an elf in this instance.
I was
you,
gonna say,
you have the working man elf hat right now.
Well, I
Like,
got
you're like
the.
the elf who actually, like,
I don't know if you can see the pin. This is last year's Christmas present. It's Scrooge.
oh, hell yeah.
Allison really a Scully cap. It's like, thank you. I love it. Boston Scully, but it's
Boo,
Scrooge.
Boston. Boo,
Ah,
Boston.
humbug.
I am
Anyway,
not
I
booing the city
guess
of Boston, just the teams. I'm sure the city's wonderful. And
uh,
we got James.
I'll be Ghost of Christmas Present if that counts for anything.
oh, because you're
Oh,
such a
great.
gift.
Does that mean? Oh, that means the ghost of Christmas present is now Gen Z.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Won't understand. It'll be like watching like an old Christmas Carol where you don't really understand the old English they're using. I don't know the new English you're using.
It's better than him being Ghost of Present or Past because we go in the past and be like, what is that? What is that?
I know what things in the past
I don't know what
are.
that is. I have no
I'll be
idea.
like, that's a record player. That's a
What is this?
telephone. That's a
I have a record player.
Why is that
What is
cell
this
phone?
slander?
Why is that cell phone wired into the wall? And where's its
That's
touchscreen?
a landline. I know what a landline is.
Hey,
I
that's a
don't know.
manual transmission. You have to shift.
I know what. Both of you suck.
Hey guys, this is James, and he knows things. But it is Christmas season, and we're just gonna go with our favorite Christmas movies today because that's what this whole month is about is binge
Yeah.
watching these. Um, and I tried to do my top five, and then I wrote down a bunch of honorable mentions that if we don't bring them up,
Someone's starting to
um,
sound like me, huh?
dude, I love Christmas movies. I really do. I don't know what it is, but like even bad ones, I thoroughly enjoy.
I'm with you, Brandon. I made my list of five and then remembered more and kept going. And I was like, okay, I hope you guys bring up some of these so it's not like my list of 100 and you guys didn't. So,
Yeah,
yeah, let's have a time.
unlike these two, I have a dedicated five. I didn't
Yeah, but
have
are they
any honorable
Christmas
mentions. Yes, they're Christmas movies. I'm not breaking the rules for this one.
we'll see.
movies? Yep.
I'm ready for it
Oh,
because
I'm
actually
sorry.
in our chat, James sent a thing saying that Prometheus was a Christmas movie because
It
it
was
does
a
take place.
joke.
No. I'm just clarifying for like the
And you're
way
100% right.
I.
Idris Elba is sitting there with a Christmas tree on the pool table or whatever.
But the mission doesn't revolve around Christmas, and that's my thing is that Christmas has to be a plot point in it. Where if they were like, we have to get this finished by Christmas, and then like
We're gonna go save
Oh, no,
Christmas.
hold on. It does tell the story of a fucked up family getting together at the holidays and all hell breaks loose. So,
But at no point does somebody say like, "This is how I want to spend my Christmas." In fact, Idris Elba's the only one who gives a shit that it's Christmas. Everybody else is like, "We've been in stasis for how long is it? Years at that point, right?"
Yeah.
Whatever. We don't need to talk about Prometheus. We're here to talk about Christmas movies.
Christmas.
I'm gonna start with my number five, and I want you to know that I think my top four are a solid lock in, and the fifth may be rotating. So for this year, my top five, the fifth one is going to be Bad Santa.
Mm.
I'll be
Uh,
honest, that's not on my list. So impressive.
I love that movie. I do like the unrated version because there's some different jokes and a little extended scenes. Um, but yeah, Bad Santa is something I watch every year. Billy Bob Thornton just like is he's so good at being just the grossest
Yep.
older dude in the world, and just like the weird jokes in those movies, and like the kid's name being Thurman Merman, and just the whole setup of that. I laugh my ass off every year watching that. That is a staple for my Christmas time.
I do like those crass Christmas movies. There's a couple out there where you're just like, dude, hard R, and it's just like, that's fun.
I think my favorite is when he gets drunk and eats the advent calendar, wakes up, realizes that he ate the advent calendar, and then tries to fix it. So he
Yep.
keeps pulling like candy corn and like Advil out for the rest of the movie.
That's funny.
That's such a lovely advent calendar.
I think he pulls it. He's like, I got a candy corn. He's like, they can't all be winners.
It's like
All right.
Halloween when the person runs out of candy and all of a sudden they're giving out pennies or something. You're like,
Like, I
He's
can't
a
eat
penny
these.
kid.
I got
Really?
sick eating pennies last year. You're giving me more pennies.
I got a rock.
I got a rock.
I got a rock.
All right, James, what's yours?
I'm sorry to disappoint that I won't be pulling out any shenanigans. For my 5th spot, I got to go with Love Actually. It is such a beautiful Christmas movie. Just recently rewatched it with my mom, and it was every time I watch it, I notice a new little detail or see something new or just pick out something, and it's just such a great Christmas movie and just a good movie in general. I love the way that it's not one story, it's a bunch of different stories, and it's basically an anthology about a bunch of kind of messed up people just trying to get through life during the holidays. And it's just so beautiful in that way. And you have Hugh Grant pretending he can dance, which is freaking hilarious.
This is turning into the Billy Bob Thornton Christmas special.
Oh, yeah. Isn't he the president?
He's the president of the United States, which I love. He's the one that represents us, and he's this lecherous, like, piggish.
I think my favorite part of that movie is Bill Nighy.
Yep.
I think he's just hilarious the whole time. And then I remember reading that song. Yeah. That was not a movie that was part of my rotation until, I started dating my now wife. But she has slowly adopted that into our rotation. And I do enjoy it every year. I did read a tweet that says if you watch the scene where Mr. Bean is putting together Alan Rickman's present, if you feel any anxiousness, you're a bad person, because he's getting a present for the person he's having an affair with, and if you're nervous he's about to get caught, you're fucked up.
Yeah, that whole story is so hard to watch. It hurts my soul because it's like, no, Alan Rickman, no, stop.
It's also a funny one in that, like, Bad Santa, you clearly know going in, I'm not showing my kids. Love Actually, you like, oh man, I can't wait to show the kids. And then you remember, I'm not saying necessarily they're shooting a porno, but they're definitely shooting something that involves a lot of nudity.
Dude, there's so many storylines.
Oh my God, I cannot believe I'm showing my kids this. I forgot there's like a porno in this.
Bilbo Baggins is getting down.
Exactly.
Goddamn, where's Gandalf?
He's shooting
every time we forget, and obviously now it doesn't matter, but every time we forget, we're like, damn it. Fast forward, whatever. Yeah.
Be like, they even acknowledge they're not shooting actual pornography. It's okay.
Yeah.
But still don't watch this at that time.
Not to mention the one British dude who goes to America just to get
Colin has a big knob.
So what's your number 5?
I don't really have an order, just ones I love. And this is just a classic. It's the only old one I have on here, and I am a sucker for the ending. Every time, the original black and white Miracle on 34th Street. I love that movie. I love the Santa Claus in it. And I just love at the end when they're rushing through the house and like, oh my gosh. And I totally understand how dated and unrealistic it is. But when he's like, I'm just a great lawyer, and then he looks over and he sees Santa's cane in the corner. I'm sorry, Kris Kringle's cane in the corner. He's like, maybe I didn't do such a good job. It's like, yeah, he was Santa Claus the whole time, asshole. I love it. Yay. It's just such a great feel-good movie. And it does, to me, stand the test of time as far as just being entertaining. Because to me, a lot of those old movies can just be boring. But that one gets me in the feels every time.
Yeah, that is another wholesome one. You were saying you remember?
I remember being little and being like, oh, Miracle on 34th Street again? And now that I've grown up and like are able to understand it more, it's like, wow, this is such a beautiful film. Antiquated as it may be, but it's just a beautiful story about Santa just being fucking baller.
And I love the coup d'etat or the climax here where they bring in all the mail and just dump it on the judge's little desk there, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. Because I don't know if anybody's seen the remake, It's got an amazing cast, but they basically go to quote the dollar bill, or like, see, U.S. government believes in God we trust. And I'm like, that's just not nearly as powerful as all these letters coming in being dumped on the desk. And I love that it's historically accurate and that we still have the Macy's Day Parade, and this is set in Macy's. And then because of Elf, Gimbals has become more popular, and we all know that is now. And I love how all those things still exist. Fun.
Yeah, that one's a classic too. Like I do end up watching most of what we're probably going to be talking about today. Like I think I've watched one a day so far, and then today and next weekend we're definitely going to like binge through some more. But what's next on your list, James?
Oh, I said I wouldn't try and bend the rules, but
I
I'm
knew it.
asking.
We only got to 4.
I'm asking for permission on this one because we do tend to watch it around Christmas time. Am I permitted to bring up Out Cold?
Listen, I love that movie, but
am I allowed to say because we watch it around Christmas time? Can I get that excuse or no?
I have to take myself out of the voting because I'm the reason you watch it. So
that movie is hilarious. I don't know that it has anything to do with Christmas for any reason.
It has nothing to do with Christmas, but
we'll sidebar this. You can write it down as a note to bring up later. But if that, like, in the way that that's a Christmas movie to you because you watch it around Christmas, that would make Paul Blart 2 a Thanksgiving movie for me.
Okay, so then
I'll go into that much later. It doesn't make any sense because that movie's
all right.
awful, but
I'll put a pin in it and pick a different one. I got to go with another just incredible classic, White Christmas. I'm a theater kid. You put me in front of a TV screen where you have hour and a half long movie, 2 hours where people are singing about stuff. I'm easily entertained, and it's White Christmas. It's just feel good, and it's not afraid to actually go into some dark topics for what was a 50s movie during the whole Red Scare debacle and the anti-communist sentiment. So it's going off of the history. It's actually like really, really dark subject matter when you look at it.
Hey man, I've said before, Christmas is like inherently spooky. I mean, the most famous Christmas story would be A Christmas Carol, I think, right? And that is a horror story.
Ghosts.
Yeah. Also, like, if you listen to like Scary Jesus Christmas music, all those songs are about like, you know, the dark day. You better be good. Jesus is watching.
Exactly. Like the pagan traditions were all about the ghost stories. It's in one of the freaking songs, for God's sake. White Christmas is just such a beautiful movie, and the music is incredible, as all things go. And I don't bring this up a lot. The performances from all of the actors and actresses are just incredible. It makes it so believable.
That cast is amazing, and it is definitely one of those ones that I'm glad somebody else mentioned, because it's one of those ones where I'm down in the dumps, whatever. I'll turn that on because it is definitely. Obviously, I'm not a fan of who is going to be president, but I like that term, "Make America Great Again." As far as you just can go and escape everything and be like, White Christmas. It's so innocent. It's so stupid. They're not conquering the world or anything like that. You have, which also leads me to another thing with growing up with another Christmas movie I'm sure we're going to mention later. The rant in it where he mentions Danny Kaye, and the whole time I'm like, I don't know who this is, whatever. And then
until you
like, oh my God, there's Danny Kaye. There he is in Christmas. Ha ha ha. Like, I finally get it.
Dude, the first time I saw that and that clicked for me, I was like, oh my God. Like the joke that has existed in my life forever.
Exactly.
Immediately coming.
It was like the memes James knows, and then he goes to watch the movie. He's like, oh, that's where that's from. And it's like, oh shit, Danny fucking Kaye. That's where that's from. Cool. But I will say the one thing that drives me nuts in that movie every single time, and this is where I go to the bathroom or go get a snack or whatever, is the modern dance segment. I hate that.
Oh, the theater.
That's your bathroom break.
Happened to the theater. It's hilarious. It's such a dumb moment. It's funny.
Hate it.
How dare you hate the theater?
Hate.
But I do love seeing Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye sisters. That's hilarious.
That was so good.
And I don't know if a lot of people know Rosemary Clooney is George Clooney's aunt. And he, for a lot of his early years, like young, would drive her around and take her to where she needed to go and do things. Was basically her assistant. And that's how he kind of got in the industry. And it's, I love that connection.
Hell yeah. I like that. Oh, is
All
that
right.
the next one you were going to talk about, Jim?
No, that's one of those ones where I did not put on my list. I was hoping somebody else would, because I wanted to have my focus on old was Miracle on 34th Street. My next one that I really want to say, and I think it's going to be mentioned before, and this is where it's out of order. Christmas Vacation. I just do not. If you approach me and you go through the Christmas season, and I don't care what your religion is, and you do not watch Christmas Vacation, we have nothing to talk about, because if you don't understand Save the Neck for Me, Clark, if you don't understand Kid is Full, you and I can't be friends, because this is some good shit, and it's every time I watch it.
I like. Hey kids, you hear they spotted Santa's sleigh in New York? Are you serious, Clark? The fucking
Are you serious, Clark?
Everything about that. That is my number one, but I'll mention it again when we get there. But yeah, I mean, that movie is outstanding, and yeah, it's all those little jokes, even like the where are you gonna put that tree? Bend over and I'll show you.
Talking to you.
I wasn't talking to her. That's the best.
Yeah, that tree's not going to finish. Yeah, that tree would fit in our front yard. It's not going in our front yard, Russ.
I found out. I watched an interview with Beverly D'Angelo this year. She was on a podcast, and the sap in the bedroom was improv by Chevy Chase. That was not supposed to happen. It was supposed to be just a conversation, and he thought making his hand sticky would make it funnier, and that is by far one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
That is brilliant right there.
I actually looked up, because Chevy Chase has pissed off a whole bunch of people. We've talked about and I'm like, all right, what is Beverly D'Angelo's relationship with Chevy Chase? Because she is literally the only one that's been in like all 5 movies with him or whatever. And they seem to get along, and they got a great relationship. They love working together. And I'm like, I don't know what special power she has that
to calm the beast
down or whatever. But thank God, because without her, and I know he's the funny one, but without her, those movies are different. And she really adds that bit of, she's us. She's normal. Well, sorry, I guess I'm Clark now because I've reached that age. But she's the one that's like, are you kidding me? Are you serious, Clark? Yeah, it's just like, yeah, because she's the mom. She's the one that holds this shit together.
She's just on set like, sun's going down, sun's going down.
Yeah, no shit. When he gets on set, I like just even her demeanor in those movies, like with the Christmas Vacation, when they're in the kitchen. She's like, I have to share a room with my brother. Do you know what that's like? She's like, well, I have to share one with your father.
And then she starts smoking. Ellen, are you smoking? No.
Just that angry chop with the veggies.
Love it. Fix the meal post.
That's such a classic. My absolute favorite about watching that, though, is every time my dad's like, I swear it was a different intro.
So here's my thing, and I swear this is the Mandela effect, and I will go to my grave believing that I am right, even though I've proved myself wrong. I may have already talked about this one. When he does the sled scene, and there's that generic music, that him going down the slope, I swear when I saw it in theaters, it was an actual song. Like, I don't even remember if it was a produced song from a band we know. I got the sense that it was not that generic, cheapy, free domain, whatever. To the extent that I, 2 years ago, bought a VHS tape of it, thinking that's the earliest rendition of it that was released. Like, a DVD might have messed it up. I know we have the Blu-ray, it's that. TV is this, so I will get the VHS copy. Brought out my VCR, found all the adapters and connections to get it to work on the TV, put the tape in, VHS, fast forward to that same fucking free domain, cheap-ass music. I'm like, no! So I swear theatrically it was a different song that was released on home video, but I can't find the proof.
And just now, a new conspiracy theory is born right here on Nerd Alert.
Just buy the original film.
Like-minded friends and aged friends agree with me. They're like, yeah, I don't think that's the right music. So I'm like, I don't know where the fuck this idea came from. I don't know why. I can't find anything. YouTube's, any other comment. But when I talk to people, friends, my age, we all think the same thing. So I don't know where this comes from.
Have you tried the Reddit rabbit hole?
He's gonna end up on the QAnon page.
Reddit.
He's like, guys, it turns out it's the same music, but did you know JFK is gonna come back any day now? Like, I went on
I'm a
conspiracy
zombie.
theories.
I don't understand. Isn't that happening?
All right. Well, my next
What's up for you
one,
next?
Elf.
Yeah.
I love Buddy
Classic.
the Elf. I love Will Ferrell. I love that. I think, you know, this will come up in Die Hard, and if anybody mentions the other ones, I'll mention if they don't get brought up. But like, I love not only Christmas movies, but I love when my favorite actors can be part of Christmas movies, because then I get to enjoy them in that aspect. And I just Anchorman and all this other stuff that was coming out around that or with that, but Elf just slowly became something that I was like, I get to watch Will Ferrell be hysterical every year. And it's fun because it's not him being raunchy Will Ferrell. He's wholesomely hilarious because he's dumb to the world. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
That movie doesn't work without James Caan. And James Caan,
it's the best.
Thank you for bringing that up.
His little one-liners, like when he's walking back with Mary Steenburgen and he just found out that this is his kid, and he explains to her, and she's all excited, and she's like, "Oh my God, you have another son?" He's like, "Well, I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about it that way." And he's like totally being sarcastic, like, "This sucks." And she's all excited, and he's Grinch, and I'm like, I love it. It's hilarious.
I love the scene where he tackles him and tries to tickle him on the couch. And it's like not even the context of the movie, but the fact that Will Ferrell is tickling James Caan. And you know that on some level that reaction was like legit. It's so good, man.
I don't know how far you dived into this, but there was some on-set stuff with him and Will Ferrell. Like, James Caan took this thinking this is going to be a lot of fun. Like, I'll go out and hang out with Will Ferrell. Like, he's a fun guy. And Will Ferrell is funny and fun on set, but didn't want to go out and do all that stuff because he was being professional. And James Caan was like, "This sucks. This is not the dude I thought he was." And I'm like,
that's so funny.
Cracks me up. Like, they were trying to reverse roles offset, and they're like, no.
Yeah. I heard there were a few times he was actually like done with him on set. Like, I don't want to do any more of this. I think Jon Favreau said in the scene where he yells at Buddy, you know, when he tells him to leave or whatever, he was asking him something, and he was like, "You were in The Godfather, like be Michael Corleone. Like that's what you're gonna do." And yeah, I mean, you forget about it being James Caan.
Brandon, I don't mean to do this to you.
No, I said the wrong name. I said the wrong name.
I just don't want all the nerds being like, "Oh my God."
Nope. As soon as it came out, I was like, nope, just gonna.
Yeah, Michael's the other one.
Yeah, Michael's the one that goes to Italy.
I don't think Michael's in a Christmas movie. Looking. And maybe a James definition of Christmas movie, maybe, but not one that I think of.
I'm trying to think.
Devil's Advocate. Maybe that was.
I was going to say that deals with the devil and Jesus, right? Like, there you go. Devil's
That's
Advocate.
close enough.
Right around Christmas,
It's, you know, it's Jesus' birthday if you're into that.
But yeah, I love and the Zoe Deschanel, when she sings, and it's nice to meet somebody else who has an affinity for
elk culture.
Oh, and what's his name? Santa. God, I can't remember his name. Comedian. Not Ed Asner, the one who comes into the store.
Artie Lang, man.
Yeah.
Before he lost his nose.
You're not Santa.
Little turn, and the fight that they get into is like so goddamn hilarious every time.
Even like, what song did I sing for your birthday? Happy birthday! And he's like, "Damn it!" Like, I love that scene. So good, dude.
You smell like ham and cheese.
6-inch curls. Not possible.
He's like somebody, or even the office manager, or the store manager, So I heard that if you look at his name tag, I think it says Wanda, and that's because that was originally supposed to be Wanda Sykes. There was something with the character name being a female, and him just putting it on and being like, "Nope, we're sticking with that." But like when he stays up and decorates the house, and he's like, "Someone's coming for my job."
Santa's got a brand new bag.
Yeah.
And then when he has to be Santa, and Buddy comes to visit, And
You
he's
just
like,
see him staring at him like, "Get the hell out of my store, dude."
I love that. And even like
Uh,
Bob Newhart, like you just don't even remember everybody that's in that. Ed Asner as like you see
Oh,
growing
Ed
up so many
Asner's
people
great.
playing Santa, and then you're like, oh my God, Ed Asner's like one of my favorite Santas. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, and Ralphie from A Christmas Story has a cameo in the elf scene when he's doing the Etch a Sketches.
Which is awesome because what other movie is he in with Jon Favreau? Iron Man.
oh my God, you're right.
He's one of the scientists at the end who's trying to build
Oh
the,
shit, he is. Yep. Holy shit, I forgot
which
about
then
that.
brings him back to Spider-Man Far From Home because he's in that. Yeah, I love that he's still Peter Billingsley. He was a mainstay in my childhood with not just
100%.
Christmas Story, but with the commercials. What was it? Messy Marvin. It was a chocolate syrup, and it was awesome. Loved it. Anywho,
Not Ovaltine.
no, ironically,
They
Drink
missed an
your
opportunity.
Ovaltine.
and we're not even talking about Peter Dinklage and Amy Sedaris. Like
Oh my god.
Andy
Oh
Dick.
my gosh. Oh, you're a bad elf.
No, you're the angry elf.
Oh, excuse me, from the South Pole.
Call me an elf one more
One
time.
more time.
I love too that he's like the high roller and he's like, I want the limo to be exactly 63 degree or whatever he says, like the exact temperature. And what he's like, well, I like when they come in there and it's like, a story about a peach. No, peach is too vulnerable. It's like, oh, of course. Like, and that's Kyle Gass and Andy Richter.
Yeah. What I love when they're like,
Yeah.
let me get this straight. My crack squad of writers want to hire another writer. Brilliant. Bring him in.
Yeah. So good. Or even when they show him being like that James Caan's on the naughty list and the freaking nun is like, but the children love the books.
I know what you're doing there.
So good, man.
That is a good one. That's definitely one that I look forward to every year, and it's a mainstay. I agree with you on that one. I'm glad you mentioned it because I did not put it on my list for that reason. That I was hoping somebody else would.
Well, what is next on your list?
There are several new ones, and I'm going through
Okay.
which one I want to mention that have come out relatively like within the last 5 to 10 years that I think have overtaken what I would have said more of my mainstays way back when we were doing Nerd Locker. One of my favorites hits me in the feels every time. Klaus on Netflix.
Dude,
I
it's
don't
so
know.
So
good.
good.
It
So
is.
good.
I'll forget that it exists, and I'll watch it, and I'll be like, crying at the end, bawling, and like, oh, every year I get to see my best friend. I'm like, such a good movie. J.K. Simmons as Claus is so awesome, and every year I forget who's playing the main character because I can't remember who I think it is, and I'm like, oh no, it's Jason Schwartzman. Oh, Doogie Howser. Every year I hear it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Doogie Howser. I'm like, no, it's not Neil
You
Patrick
hear
Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris?
It's
I
Jason
never thought of
Schwartzman.
that.
Every year, I don't know why. And then Rashida Jones, Will Sasso, again, just the Norm Macdonald, rest in peace. Joan Cusack. It's like this cast is amazing.
I like that movie for that reason because especially when you hear Norm Macdonald and you're like, oh man, I forgot he was fucking in this, and then you're just like, oh hell yeah, I got to hear Norm Macdonald.
And he's being his typical dry, sarcastic self as the character. It's so beautiful. And the story, basically the invention of Santa Claus, I just love it. In this town that got nothing going for it, and then the crazy Norwegians that can't speak to the rest of the villagers. I'm like, all of it just comes together so beautifully. I love that movie.
And
It's great.
If I may be a huge animation nerd, the animation bullshit they
Oh.
pulled to make it look that way, incredible. The 3D animation with like the 2D cell shading was so brilliant. I wish more movies would do that. Yeah, Disney, take notes. Stop doing this 3D shit. Give us some 2D stuff again, please.
Well, that's where I like this is kind of out of nowhere. Like you didn't expect it. It's not a big, I mean, the cast is great, but it's not a big name coming at you being like, oh, you got to watch this. It's like, no, it's just, to me, it came out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, wow.
I think it was a Netflix original, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, that movie's a reason I will give other ones a shot that are new because I didn't expect much. And I think I put it on as like just something to fill the background. And as I was kind of like catching parts of it, I sat down and started it over. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
So good.
Yeah, such a brilliant movie. That was definitely one of Netflix's good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's
Oh,
that?
speaking of Netflix, this isn't on my list, but I watched the one that you said
Oh,
your wife
hot,
watched to
hot,
mess up your
whatever.
algorithm.
Hot
Yeah,
Frosty.
Hold on, did you watch that with her or no?
I watched to the point. It was one of those ones where I was falling asleep. So I was. That's why I said you watch whatever you want. I was falling asleep, and it got to the point where, and I don't remember the girl's name, but she went up and the scarf went around the mannequin. No, I guess it was a snowman,
Snowman.
and then he came alive, but she didn't see that, and I was like, what the fuck?
There is an unhinged line of dialogue in that movie that I laughed so hard I rewound it. Rewound it. Yeah, rewound it.
Be
I
kind.
had to hear her answer because I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But the concept of the movie is like Frosty the Snowman, like
But
except
he's hot.
she puts it around a buff snowman and you know whatever. Like the guy doesn't know anything. He's learning about life and people, so he's at home watching TV all day, and he sees like a cooking show and a repair show, and then he's watching Nosferatu, and this is his only like thing of like human knowledge. He's learning, right? He doesn't know shit about anything.
This
So
is
when
like a
she's
worse
home,
version of Frankenstein.
oh no, it's dude, hold on.
I was thinking Splash.
This fucking guy. So he's at home and he fixes something in the house, and now he's cooking a nice dinner because he picks up things, whatever. So the Nosferatu thing's important because it's this line of dialogue. But he's like, she's like ambiguously single. You don't know how or why yet. You just know that she doesn't have a husband anymore. So the line that he says to her in the movie is, I was I was hunting or I was looking for vampires in the basement and I saw something. Hold on. No, James. Hold on.
Oh dear.
I was looking for vampires in the basement and then I saw something. What is cancer?
What is he referring to?
Well, she goes, it's something bad that happens to people sometime. And he goes, is that what happened to Dylan? Like her dead husband? And that's how you learn how she's single. But like this dude's going through medical records in the basement.
His death certificate? What the fuck?
Crying. I was crying. I rewound it. And I was like, I have to hear what she says to this. Because he literally goes, what's cancer? Like all.
So in my mind, James, Brandon is watching him by himself. His wife is nowhere to be seen. And I'm not going to listen to him tell me otherwise.
And I was
I'm
like,
glad you watched it, Brandon. Good for you.
She
Dude.
pops her head and she's like, "Why are you laughing so hard?"
Unhinged line of dialogue. I was like, I think we should watch this every year. I had to get that one on while we had the Netflix topic up, but
That's
I will
fair.
go much lighter than cancer on my next pick. This one is just I can't finish the season without watching it. Is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, you took it from me. How
I'm
dare
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
So good.
It's fine.
It's my
It is. It's
favorite.
incredible.
It's my favorite.
It's that one meme. You have why am I blanking? Michael Caine with a bunch of Muppets, and he pretends Muppets are real people. And then with Tim Curry pretends he's a Muppet, and those performances are what drive
Yes,
the movie.
that is it. Is Michael Caine treats the Muppets as actual actors, and Tim Curry treats himself as an actual Muppet, and that is why Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol are outstanding. But I mean, Michael Caine acts the shit out of that movie, and every year that I watch it, I'm like, dude, he fucking did. He came and was like, "You hired me to be an actor. I'm fucking Scrooge." Like he's such a good Scrooge.
That is like my dream as an actor, to get a role like that and just act the fuck out of it. So everybody's like, "You didn't have to go that hard," and I'm like, "But I did anyway."
Dude, with the Muppets, it's so good, beginning to end.
And that's what I love is that I grew up with the Muppets, saw the Muppet movie, Muppets Take Manhattan, but there was a long drought of no Muppets. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get Muppet Christmas Carol. And you're like, this is amazing. I went and saw it with my two best friends in high school because we're cool as hell like that. And
Hell yeah.
we went to the theater, and it wasn't packed, but this family sat behind us and immediately sits down. And now I have a bigger appreciation. Popcorn, pop, everything, crash. So it was an old school theater where it was just a slope. And so all that shit just goes sliding down. And you just hear the mom like, the kid's like, ah. And then the first time Rizzo, which is early, first time Rizzo comes on the screen, this kid, I think they sat right behind us in an open theater, like nobody's there.
Oh.
Rizzo the rat. I love Rizzo.
That's almost as good as Papa with the Black Rider with Lord of the Rings.
It's Strider. So that story is I went and took my father-in-law to Lord of the Rings, and I'm not a Lord of the Rings dude. I didn't know anything about it. Hadn't watched the animation, hadn't read the books, and my father-in-law, huge fan, read everything. Get there. Typically, he would just shovel popcorn in his mouth, whatever movie it was. This time, he like literally mid-thing as he's watching this 3-hour movie, didn't move his hand. But then we get to the scene where Viggo Mortensen shows up for the first time. He's like, it's Strider. It's Strider. Oh, my God, it's Strider. To this packed theater, he's telling me Strider. And I'm like, what that is? I've never seen this movie. Anything about anything, whatever. Shut up, dude.
Shut up.
It was so...
Anyway. I would have killed to have gone and seen Muppet Christmas Carol in high school. That would have been such an experience. I mean, it's like as an actor, I appreciate the fuck out of Michael Caine's performance because he easily could have just not tried, and yet here he is giving like. Oh, sorry. He goes in and he gives the most compelling performance. He should have won a fucking award for that shit.
For sure. Like there's everything about that movie I love. Like just the different Muppets that play the different characters. Like everything about that beginning to end, I love so much. Like, and yeah, Michael Caine makes that movie. I think if you would have got anybody else, they would have like tongue-in-cheeked it a little bit, and he came in and was like, I'm an actor and I will be an actor. And I actually like, I don't know if you ever seen, they have like bloopers from that movie which are pretty funny, especially with Michael Caine. He's like walking with the Ghost of Christmas Present, and the Ghost of Christmas Present actually hits him in the head with his hand, and it's like, oh shit, like I love that movie. It's so good.
It is.
And it's hard to stand out with the Christmas Carol because obviously it's been told a million times. Everybody knows the story. They clearly stood out, and that's one I seek out every year. You're right. Good call.
All right, who's got next?
JJ.
I would love to go next. I'm going to pull out the ever classic, and anybody who says it's not a Christmas movie is stupid.
What did I say?
Die Hard.
No.
Die Hard. It's a goddamn Christmas movie. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Happens on Christmas. It revolves around Christmas. It is a fucking Christmas movie. Sorry. A lot of people tried to argue with me on this, and it pissed me off.
I think that was the most disappointing thing was when Bruce Willis came out and said, no, it's not a Christmas movie. It's like,
it's a fucking Christmas movie.
Look, I love you, Bruce Willis, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas
Oh my
movie.
God. When I was watching it with my friends for movie night, my absolute favorite thing is they opened the vault, and I went, it's a Christmas miracle. Everybody died laughing.
Here's the thing: the sequels are not Christmas movies. I can agree with. It's not a Christmas franchise.
The second one is.
Is it still a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it takes place on Christmas.
Yep.
Oh, son of a bitch! You're right.
Yep.
Damn, dude. I'm sorry, Bruce Willis, but guess what? You're
He's double wrong.
That's cool because I love that I get to watch Bruce Willis for Christmas every year. In the same way that I get to watch Kurt Russell for Christmas every year, because we talked about that before. Like, I love that my action stars are, staples in my Christmas viewing.
Absolutely. And rewatching it again, the dialogue in the film is absolutely incredible. Like when he's on the radio calling the emergency dispatch, and he's like, "Well, maybe if you stop jerking me off and get over here," it's like. Or the yippee-ki-yay motherfucker.
Will they come down here and arrest me?
I love that. He's like, yep, I'm making it up then. Just get your ass down here. Like,
or my absolute favorite, which my father has thankfully reminded me of so much now. Come to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
I say that every time something's going wrong, and lately it's because now we have 3 dogs. I'm like, come out to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs. Allison gets so mad every time.
And Alan Rickman just nailing his performance. It's like dude, this is a stupid action movie. You did not need to go that hard.
Yeah, he did, but he killed, dude. Alan Rickman, God, I missed him every day because he was so
Oh,
good. And
and
yeah,
it's
in
like
this, he's just outstanding.
everybody in that movie nails it. The dude who plays Takagi is like, he goes so hard with that performance, and he gets killed in like the first 30 minutes. And it's like, what the hell? You did not have to go that hard.
The supporting terrorists, like they're just people you see as sort of B actors in other movies. I think one's Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, Wilhelm von Homburg, Hans Beringer's Fritz, Al Leong, who's the Asian dude who's behind the candy, eating the candy.
I love that scene. I really laugh every time I watch that scene because it's like they're supposed to be serious. The cops are about to come in, all guns ablazing, and he's like, because he like looks at it and then looks away and then looks back and he's like, I'm taking a candy bar.
I love how quickly he gets taken out. He's just on a staircase, and Bruce Willis is like, nah. And it's like the poor dude gets like no time to react, and Bruce Willis destroys him.
And I would like to give a shout out to a connection we have. He was a professor at UNLV. He has since passed away. But Clarence Gilliard Jr., who played Theo, the computer hacker.
Really?
He was a professor in the theater department at UNLV.
Get out of here.
No, I embarrassingly met him once at James. Honestly, he was doing A Christmas Carol at UNLV. He was playing a younger version of Ebenezer Scrooge. And I met Clarence, in the bathroom at the men's room. And I was like, hey, you're Theo. You're in Sundown with Top Gun.
He's like, sir, can I finish peeing?
You're in Karate Kid 2, and you're Texas Ranger Walker. And it's like, sorry.
He's like, sir, can I please just finish peeing before you talk to me?
I did not shake hands. I was like,
wow.
No way.
Things we learn. But yeah, that movie is so well done, and it's like having a new appreciation for like behind the scenes and crew production. The practical effects for people getting shot was way too realistic. Like the viscera flying, it's like, oh, you did not need to do that.
It's a great movie. Like everything about it is great. And it's like, I think that's a part that makes it fun to me is like, it's taken as like, there's plenty of action movies you can watch where they don't show blood or they overdo it or whatever. And this one was just like kind of realistic, which, just makes for a better movie.
He pulled the glass out of his feet, shoot the glass. And then pulling out his feet was like, fuck, dude. Wow. But I also want to mention Betty Bedelia as his wife. Awesome. That contentiousness is highly generous. Reginald Vell Johnson. Like,
oh my God, he's so good in that movie.
He is. Like, I never knew him, didn't know anything about him. Family Matters hadn't come out yet. And then it's like, all right. And then he's briefly in the sequel too. You're like, I think I like this guy a lot. I wish he'd do more. And the fact that he still embraces it is awesome.
Well, like that's the thing too about that movie. Like the acting in it, like Reginald Vell Johnson does such a good job. Like, because there's like setups of like action movie tropes throughout it, but when he gets like real with them and explains like why he's on the beat that he's in, and like it's just like watching that every year, I'm always like, man, like he does such a good job with that role.
And probably, if it wasn't Alan Rickman, he'd be the best villain in the movie. But he's the second best villain in the movie. William Atherton. That dude is the asshole of the 80s. I love it.
He's so good at it, though. He's so good. It's just you want to strangle him every time he's on screen.
Even the new Ghostbusters, when he came in playing the same fucking character, it's like, you're still an asshole. I love it.
That's what I loved about it, is it was like, oh, this guy again. Because you're so sick of his shit the second you see him that you're just like, he's here to cause problems.
He plays just that greasy, like, oh, give me a remote van and I'll go report this. And I'll call the IRS, or not the IRS. I'll call you the ENS. We'll get you deported out of here, whatever. And you're like, you're a dick, dude.
Dude, wonderful movie, wonderful pick, James. I'm into that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And I do
try my
like
best
this movie.
sometimes.
Are you next up, Jimmy?
I don't know. Are you? Because I feel like I said no. I think I am up.
Yeah, you're up.
Go. Another one that is relatively new, that again, you have a lot of these 90s nostalgic 80s movies coming out that are based in the 80s, and I get so tired of it because like that's when I grew up, and it's just I don't feel a lot of them capture it or it's lame. But when I watched 8-Bit Christmas, I was like,
Damn it, you took it from me. Oh.
I think they're just telling my life story. This is unbelievable. And that one, I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago that it came out. And
Yeah,
this is
2
my
years ago.
Doogie Howser. Love it. Just that movie's so good, and everything in it is like, yeah, accurate. Well, it's a little late to the game because I think at one point, like 1988, I'm like, dude, if you were jonesing for an NES that late and your town only had one, like, late to the game, man. Not true at all. But other than that, for the most part, like he's playing Paperboy, and I'm like, yes, that's what I would play. I love it.
Okay, but we didn't have the scene of Appa playing Zelda for like hours on end and hogging the NES.
So James is referring to my dad late in the game. Like all my friends already had a Nintendo, and finally he brings it home. And there's no game. It's not like one with the Mario. And I'm like, fuck, what? Oh, he brought Zelda. Cool. I'll just sit down. My dad plugs it in, gets it all together, and plays himself. And I just sit down next to him like.
And you're like, I was hoping to.
You want player 2, champ?
I was hoping to get a little play
and it's
time
not even
here.
Like kids have that rule when you die, then the next person takes over. Oh no, because it's my dad. It's like
he just looks at you and he goes, "You can play when I'm finished."
Keeps playing, and to me it felt like days. I'm sure it was like 30 minutes or something, but it was like, yeah.
Jimmy kept a war journal, like day 4.
Exactly.
Still,
I would kill to read that. I would kill to read that.
I thought my dad had a real job. I don't know why he's still here. Yeah. But yeah, that movie.
My dad had a real job. That one flew under the radar, though. Like, I didn't really acknowledge. Like, that's the thing with some of these that go straight to streaming or whatever. I was always like, I don't know. But when you watch it, it's worth a watch.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like they're kind of all seeing how popular the Hallmark movies were. And they're not necessarily making Hallmark movies, but they're like, dude, we can lean into this Christmas thing. So like Max, I believe HBO Max made this one, that they're like, we'll make a good one. And they do. It has nothing to do with the romance and all that crap. It's just a good Christmas movie that was released on Max. I love the actors. Obviously, Neil had Patrick Harris, which clearly I have a crush on him because I talk about him all the time. Steve Zahn, who plays the dad. Freaking love that guy. He's now in Silo on Apple. I love that guy. He shows up randomly, like that thing you do. And you're like, dude, I love this guy. I don't even know who he is. Well, I finally figured out who he is. Steve Zahn. Love him. The mom, June Diane Raphael. Yes, I had to look it up. I absolutely love her. The kid, awesome. I think he's from.
What was that Disney movie we watched where he was like, mistakes were made?
Yeah, I was just thinking. I can't think of that, but
let me look it up.
I know the line. What the hell did we talk? Oh my god, I can like see it.
Let me see here. But
maybe the movie is Timmy Failure.
Yeah,
Mistakes. He's so good.
That was another great one. But his story with the moon boots. Now his mom got him a girl's pair, which is what his embarrassment was. Well, they don't tell the true story. It was just moon boots in general. I did the same goddamn thing. Wore them out the house. Took them off. Put my sneakers on. Froze my ass off. They got soaking wet all day. I believe this one takes place in Chicago.
Yes, Chicago.
I'm not teasing, Brandon. We would get Chicago's weather 24 hours later in Cleveland. So the weather they had in that movie is what we would have growing up as well. So the same goddamn thing. I'm not wearing my moon boots. I'm wearing my sneakers, soaking wet all day, freezing, uncomfortable, hated it. Same exact thing. Jonesing. One kid in the neighborhood had the Nintendo, and he was invariably the dick. But you had
always.
I don't know how that was the case, but I guess you were that kid because you had the Sega, Saturn Dreamcast. You were the only one that had that. So everybody
had a Saturn. Oh
no, I had a Dreamcast.
The Dreamcast.
Okay. That's baller. That's baller. The Saturn was
But it was so, and that it was hilarious when they're ripping on the glove because you're like, yeah, that motherfucker didn't work at all. But it was everybody wanted one because it was the best. Same with the robot. Like we had.
I still
Rob.
want one.
Dude, Rob is such a piece of shit. I like my favorite thing is watching speedruns of his game because people will flip their lid when the program shits itself and doesn't do what they want. They're like, no, my run. That's a different thing.
The other parts that cracked me up is Neil Patrick Harris's character is telling his daughter in the movie what it was like growing up in the 80s. And he's like, yeah, because I rode my bike here. He's like, well, you wore a helmet. It's like, yeah. And all of a sudden it flashes back. He went from his snow hat to a helmet. And she's like, was it green? Yeah. And it goes from blue to green. And it's like, we didn't have helmets. We didn't know helmets. Helmets didn't exist in the 80s. Bullshit. And it just cracks
And then
me
the
up.
dog getting crushed by the TV set, which did not happen. Or the
we talked about
the NES like blowing up.
And we talked about that with like Dungeons and Dragons and all these scary things, heavy metal, and the news just going on about how it's awful for kids. That shit happened with the Nintendo. Be like, it's rotting their brains. Don't sit close to the TV. You're gonna. And it's like that shit so fake, but that's how it was.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the scene!
I still got a lot of that
in
the 90s. No, like when you were saying the helmet, see, you didn't have it, and then they overcorrected when I was a kid in the 90s. Because I remember when
ESRB, with Mortal Kombat.
Well, no, I'm even talking like the safety stuff, like the helmets and stuff, because I couldn't do shit without being covered. Like I remember because we played hockey growing up, so we had rollerblades, so we could skate around the street, and I had to have a shin guard or the wrist guards, the little like.
Oh yeah.
If you ever had to wear one of those, it was the most demeaning shit on the planet because it just sat right here and you couldn't make a fist, you couldn't grab anything, and you looked like a fucking dweeb.
Brayden, I wish I had those when I took my spill the one time because now I've got nasty scars.
But by the time they exist now, I bet they look way cooler than what I had because it almost looked like the carpal tunnel brace, but then it had this big piece of plastic that went from the middle of your palm down here. And
but if you got in a fight, you went and did some karate shit, you would really
murder a child by breaking their nose.
Another classic in that film that gets me every time, the NES talking to him. And it's like, you don't think about it when you're gaming, it's like you're in the zone. You feel that. And then I love when he goes back and the NES is like, how's your sister? And he's like, shut up. It's such a good little line.
Yeah. And I like how the parents, I don't remember exactly what they call it, but it was, my dad did this all the time.
Oh, the Nintendo?
I think they did that. They'd be like, are you going to go play Nintendo? And I'm like, how can you not know the name? You bought it. It's Nintendo.
N-I-N, not I-N, N-I-N.
But what about that Nintendo? And I'm like, yeah, Nintendo is awesome, Dad. Thanks.
Well, it's also that everything after Nintendo was always called a Nintendo. Like, you want a new Nintendo?
It's Sega.
No, I want to play.
It's Sega.
If you go in and ask for a Nintendo, you're going to get me the wrong thing.
Oh my God. The people who say like Sony are like, just say PlayStation. Please just say PlayStation. It is not a Sony. It is a PlayStation.
But it was like every parent called it a Nintendo if they didn't play video games. Everything I had was a Nintendo.
I also want to give props to my dad. I don't know how. I just remember being with him. There was a store called Children's Palace back in the day, which was like Toys R Us, which doesn't exist either now. And I have no idea how he did this. He got my sister a Cabbage Patch doll. I was with him. I don't remember how he did it. I just remember he had one and we left. And I'm like, damn, because they were literally reporting on the news. Like these are flying off shelves. It was a huge chaos in the store. Again, I don't remember him beating up old ladies or anything like that, but he got one for my sister.
Yeah. Well, you may have blocked out some things.
Yeah. Now, the funny part is I have two sisters, so I don't know how that went down. I know one sister got a Cabbage Patch that year when it was uber popular, and I will also say I did not get a Nintendo that year.
Bill Burr said, he's like, you kids today wouldn't make it with Christmas shopping in the 80s. He's like, there's no fucking way.
True that.
Wow, so this was just literally your childhood, but in Chicago.
That's why when I was watching, I'm like, oh my God, they captured it. This is unreal.
That's awesome, though. That's
really is. And that's why I hate most 80s movies, because they do say things and do things. I'm like, that didn't happen. This one,
that and Totally Killer were like scarily accurate, and it's so good.
Spot on. Anyway, who's next?
And so how many of you brought up,
take this,
James?
Brandon?
No, how many of you brought up?
I think I brought up 3.